A few weeks ago, in the readings that were proclaimed, we heard Paul talk about the gifts that we were given by the Holy Spirit. And I remember as I was praying through that, it is one of those things that I have struggled with much of my life, wondering just what are the gifts that the Lord has given me. And I'm being very honest, I could never quite figure out what it was until a few weeks ago. Because one of the gifts that Paul talks about is the gift of faith. And I have to be honest, I have been very blessed with that gift my entire life. There has been no moment in my life that I have not truly believed and felt the presence of God, that I have doubted his existence or the truth of Christ or the truth of the church. Yes, there are times I've struggled with the teachings of the church, more with understanding them, but once I realized exactly what the church was teaching, that was good enough for me. It is that gift of faith that has been so prevalent in my life. Now, I'm not saying that I've lived my life out perfectly. Quite frankly, I haven't. There's a reason I went to confession last week. But because of my faith, I generally recognize pretty quickly what I've done wrong and feel that sense of true contrition in my heart. And that gift of faith, as I said, has been so powerful for me, because it has given me that gift of knowing God's presence always in my life and feeling that presence so deeply. Well, except for one moment. While I was in the seminary, I was going through a very deep time of conversion where the Lord was challenging me to change certain aspects of my life. Certain ways of how I interacted with people, the way I was thinking about things. And I'll just be honest. I didn't agree with God. I didn't think I needed to change at all. I thought I was perfectly fine. Well, God was not agreeing with that idea. And one day I was sitting in the chapel at St. John's by myself, and God and I were, arguing about this point. And in that moment, in a sense, the Lord stepped away from me. For the first time in my life, I did not feel God present to me. Now, it's not that I doubted God was there. I knew intellectually God was with me. But I didn't feel him in my heart. And I remember I didn't get so much upset or sad as I felt a sense of emptiness. And in that moment, I was like, okay, God, I get it. You can stop now. And I was very clear with God, I never want this to happen again. Because it is that openness to God's presence. It is there that I came to find my sense of hope. Today, as we listen to Jesus in the gospel, he gives us the blessings and the woes. But what underlies the difference between them? It ultimately is about where we place our trust. As I look at my life, my trust has always been in the Lord. And that is where our blessing comes from. It's not so much as you listen to the woes that those people have done anything bad. But again, it is where their faith and their trust comes to be settled. And it is ultimately in themselves or in others. We live in a society that believes you should be able to do it on your own. Pull yourselves up by your own bootstraps and depend upon no one else. Quite frankly, that is what we would call Christian heresy. It is the road of damnation, pure and simple. We, as Christians, recognize the truth that we can accomplish nothing, literally nothing of value on our own. It is impossible because we are broken, we are sinners. And it is only when we recognize that truth that we recognize our true need for Jesus in our life. It is only there that we will then come to place our trust in the Lord and the way that we are called to. And when we do that, it is there that we open up to His presence in our lives and come to depend upon our God in the way that we are called to. And that is the true blessing, is recognizing our dependence wholly, completely on the Lord. For when we come to depend on ourselves, it is like that moment in the chapel. It's not so much that God separates Himself from us. And I recognize that it was more I was separating myself from the Lord, and He showed me that. May we come then and recognize where our true faith, trust, and hope must be. And Paul speaks of that today. He speaks about where our hope arises. It is in what God has already done for us in the person of Jesus. As Jesus died, He rose from the dead. And it is that which is at the heart of our faith, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It's not just an idea. It is the truth of what has occurred, and it is the very heart of why we have hope, because of not what we have done, but what God has done for us in Jesus. And that also helps us to realize that with God, all things are truly possible. As He brings the dead to life. May we seek then to recognize truly our brokenness and our sinfulness, not in fear, not in the sense of putting ourselves down, but in the recognition in that of our need for our God. May we come to truly place our faith and our trust in the Lord, and there find the true blessing of our life.